Yeah, fix them both, Mike.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome everybody to the October 2024 ICA meeting. I thank you all for not only making time to be on the call, but having the ability to be on the call. There are, as we know, plenty who don't have, lesser abilities, and I know our thoughts and efforts will continue to be with them, but since we're all here, we're going to do the best with what we've got and move forward and just give thanks in any way we can. I know that our director will not be able to join us this evening. He's got other obligations, as you can imagine, but I do see some other dignitary type people in the form of Jose Gonzalez, our trusted RI staff member. Joe Roth from Zone 34 ICA team is with us. Welcome to you both. And again, thanks for everyone being here. Terry Weaver, our Rotary coordinator, is with us. And any other that consider yourself a dignitary, please be welcomed. I won't pick on anybody beyond that. But again, thank you for all being here. As you will recall, you can always view recordings of past calls, the past links, which are shared to you in the recap emails. And it's all the recordings are found on the Rotary Zones 33, 34 TV YouTube channel. To get us started with today, I want to give you a little bit of recap months prior without going into a lot of detail. It's pretty simple to do. What we and clubs are doing to promote the initiative of innovative growth, and not just in the clubs, but all other aspects of finding ways to be innovative. We've really stressed the importance of contacting and working with other district leaders and searching for where the efforts fit best within the district. And you will recall that you don't have to do this on your own. New to this Rotary year is an actual Zone ICA team in the form of Ken Fleeson, who supports districts 7305, 7620, 7770. Al DeLucia, who supports 7280 and 7545. Renee Laws has 7600, 7680, 7690. Mike Walker has 7670, 7710, 7720. And I am working with 7570, 7730, and 7750. I apologize for taking the time to go through all those, but we've had some questions lately about who it is that they can turn to. And I don't know that I've done a very good job of explaining the geography necessarily to that. So hopefully if you heard your district, you know who you can reach out to as an additional resource.
I think you left Patrick off.
Oh, not intentionally. Patrick has 7360, 7610, and 7630. Thank you for correcting that mistake, Michael. I appreciate that. And last month we talked about the importance of providing just a general understanding of the people as ICAs that are tasked with gathering this data. We explained the ICA program, its evolution, its initial vision and purpose. We certainly hit district's team, how it gets delivered to the international level, and remembering that this is actually a zone committee that supports the districts. So that new team structure was, we talk about what we hope to present near the holidays in the form of a forward-thinking additional opportunity to this call. I'll let Patrick get into some of the details of that later. But for now, what we want to talk about, being a fourth of the way through the new Rotary year, we really would like to start with hearing what you're doing and experiencing as your district's ICA or other leader or just other district member. Are any of you, by show of hands, and don't be shy, are you hearing from your clubs? Anybody reaching out to ask how they can get things started in the right direction? Carrie, you've got your hand up. Anything you'd like to share with the group as far as what you're hearing from the clubs in your district?
No, we have a number of conversations going on about forming innovative clubs, about 6 different conversations in our district. But we just had our membership summit on Saturday, and I think another 2 or 3 might potentially come out of that in terms of conversation, right? Nothing formed yet, nothing, official, but just lots of good interest and discussions.
But you do have people that are reaching out to you and asking for, the generation of ideas, if you will.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. Is that from, can I ask you some questions about that? Is that from you making the opportunity known to them? Or are you just kind of catching the audience blindly in the other way?
So being new in this role, I inherited kind of a status spreadsheet of like, these are some conversations that have been going on. So we've reached out to folks to say, you know, are you still interested? Let's have a conversation about it. And then the membership summit, I had a number of people after I presented at the summit on Saturday, and I had a number of people afterwards say, I really want to talk to you about this. So there's probably like 2 or 3, I think, out of that. And then I'm going to be sending an email through Pmail to all the club presidents and membership chairs to let them know, you know, that I'm a resource if they have any questions, want to discuss, just want to learn more, etc.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Anybody else having similar experiences like that? Are you being approached by anybody from the club saying, hey, we'd really like to get this started. We're just maybe not sure how to do that?
Yes, this is Heather Valeri out of Charleston. I've had both types of conversations. I had one existing club realizing that growth has kind of become stagnant, and they wanted to learn more about what is an e-club, how would they convert their current structure to that. And I'd also give kudos to Jose Gonzalez for being a great resource. We've had some joint conversations about that as well. So that leadership team of that club is discussing that if they're going to convert to an e-club, the entire group, or if they're going to do some kind of hybrid format. And then I'm also talking with a couple of larger clubs about creating an e-club, because they do have e-members and they recognize that it could be an advantage for attracting more younger professionals.
That's fantastic. That's got a lot of potential from a lot of different angles. If you all pay attention, you have heard Terry Weaver say at least once that we find most of our clubs small handful of categories. The ones that don't have any problems at all, which as you would imagine is the minority. Then you've got a small group of clubs that have problems and they just don't care about it. And that's a topic for a different conversation altogether. But there are these in the middle, the bulk of those that have a problem, that would like to do something about it, and they just don't know how to get started in doing that. So to hear these kind of stories is very encouraging. And that's really where we want to focus this month's session, is in the successful start realm, if you will. This concept of delivering success stories to each of you is nothing new, but it is kind of new in this monthly ICA call. We don't normally have that format, but this evening we are very blessed to have a couple people join us from around the zone that have those successful start stories to share with us. And they've somehow found a way to be with us this evening, and I appreciate that. I can let our team members who help facilitate, if you will, them being with us. So let's just jump right into that. Michael, I think you've brought someone with you, so to speak.
So to speak.
From your
Yeah.
district that wants to
Yes.
share some success. Would you like to bring her to the mic?
Absolutely. Margie Christopher is the membership chair for the Shelby Club in Cleveland County. They've been hit pretty hard with a hurricane, and so she is zooming in from her church where she has power. So we appreciate the extra effort there, Margie. And she is definitely one of my 2 very favorite Margies in the world, and the other one is also on the call, and I'll let you figure out who that is. But Margie was involved from the beginning of a club that Shelby is a good above average size club and has the capacity to handle an impact club. And I don't want to give away too much. And so Margie, why don't you take about 5 minutes and along the lines of what we talked about.
Okay, thank you. I am going to answer some questions that Mike has forwarded to me, and it'll kind of give you a chronological order of how things occurred with us. As our club president for 23-24 was planning, we did a strategic plan in May and June of 23. One of the concerns that she expressed to us was that when she had been talking to some of her friends about joining Rotary, they said that they just could not afford the dues that we were paying, which of course includes our meals. We're an older club. We're a very traditional club. So Audrey's vision was to have something that would be more appealing to young people, young professionals, people who could not be away for an hour and a half or 2 hours on Friday at noon to come to a meeting. So it's part of our strategic plan. When she came, when she actually became active as our president in July of 23, she designated the membership committee as the group that would actually look at other possible alternatives for us. And we began almost immediately to have membership committee meetings and talking about what we were going to do, whether or not we would try to increase the size of our traditional Friday club or whether we would go another route. And pretty quickly, we came to decide that we wanted to have an impact club. One of the first things that we did was to reach out to Nico Ainelli, and we had a Zoom meeting with him in September. He gave us a lot of information about what we needed to be doing as far as the paperwork stuff, talking with us about ideas that other clubs had pursued. We again asked Nico to come back and talk to our board, and we did that in our November meeting. We continued to look at the materials, the written materials that he had shared with us, because there actually is a lot of written material that's available to people who are interested in starting satellite clubs. We did not meet during the holidays. We really didn't do very much the last 2 weeks of November or the month of December. But when January came around, we really hit the ground running. And our club had always adopted the bylaws of Rotary International and did not have individual bylaws. So one of the first things that we decided that we needed to do was to go ahead and write individual bylaws, which took some time to develop that. And of course, we included Impact Club because that was our goal, but everything was to be determined. By February, we were able to go to the board with the bylaws and talk with them. We got this support. And then on February the 23rd, we actually went to the membership and voted in the bylaws, which included the idea of the Impact Club. All along this process, we would give maybe a 3-minute update in our Friday meetings, maybe once a month, to kind of let people know where we were, because we wanted people to know that this is an ongoing project. It was part of our strategic planning, and that really progress is being made. We just didn't want to go from 0 to 60 with nothing in between. So we continually gave updates. Let's see, in March and April in our membership committee meetings, we really concentrated on how we were going to get the word out about having an impact club. So we spent a lot of time thinking about who we needed to be talking to. Around the 1st of May, we sent out letters to everybody in our club, and we sent out a more detailed letter to the members of our club who don't come, because there are some folks who just maintain their membership and they just don't come to the Friday meetings. We sent letters to each of the other clubs in our area. We have a leadership program through the Chamber of Commerce. We asked them to distribute the letter of information to all of their members. And we had just not too recently before that had a meeting that the chamber had sponsored, that we were able to give out information about the Rotary, and the people who indicated they had an interest, we were in contact with them. So we did a lot of contacting people during the month of May. Then in June, we really hit it with social media, and through social media announced that we were going to have an information session talking about our new club that we wanted to actually implement. That went very well. We had about 22 folks who joined us that evening, and maybe 5 or 6 of the membership committee and folks from our club who wanted to be supportive and be there to answer questions. We actually had so many people that we decided maybe we should go ahead and have a second information session, because we also had folks who would say, I'm really interested, but I can't make it on this particular night. So there was a second information center session that we did in June. Then it had been our goal to complete this during President Aubrey's term, but we just weren't able to pull it off time-wise. So during the month of July, we filled out all of our information, did the spreadsheet of the 10 members who were actually interested in going forward with membership in the Impact Club, and sent in our application. Supposed to have sent in our application. I didn't exactly do things the way I was supposed to, so we had a little glitch there. There actually is an application, not just a letter of intent in the spreadsheet. So we sent all of that in July, and we were notified then about the middle of August that our application was going to be improved. We set our induction service for August the 28th. We changed our Friday meeting so that all of our membership would come to an evening induction service. The whole point of this Impact Club was to have it at a time when folks could be free to meet in the evening. So instead of trying to do the normal induction like we normally do on Friday at noon, we changed it to the evening and canceled our Friday noon meeting so everybody else could attend. We currently have 10 members, and we have one person who is waiting for induction at this point in time. One of the questions that I was asked was, could we have done it in a shorter time? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, we could have, because we took about 6 weeks off during the holidays. So we could have shortened that time. Also, the fact that we did not have our own club bylaws and we had to start by going through the bylaw process was something that caused us to have extra time. How did we stay focused? We committed to having a membership committee meeting at least one time a month, and our goal was to complete the process during our president's term. So that was how we stayed focused. We had something that we had to do every single month, and it was kind of checking off the list about we accomplished this or we need to do this next. Our membership committee was involved. Our board chair was involved. Nico was involved with us, for which we were very grateful. And we really made the effort to keep the membership involved. And as I said previously, we did these little short blurbs every once in a while, just to let them know what was going on. So they were also very involved. Another one of the questions that I was asked was, how did we get the children of our members interested? Because actually 2 of our Friday members have daughters who is in the new Impact Club. And we didn't really go after them as a target. It just kind of was one of those blessings that we received. They knew about what their fathers had been doing in Rotary, and when the opportunity became available to them, they took advantage of it. As far as obstacles are concerned, as I said, we're a very old and traditional club, and there was some, I won't say resistance, but perhaps reluctance about trying to start another club, about where the loyalties would lie and how are you going to handle the money and all this kind of stuff. We really tried to answer those questions as quickly as we could to the membership and to get input, and gave them the opportunity on multiple occasions to come to membership committee meetings and actually be a part of deciding those things. I guess really what I'm saying is we took some baby steps in the process and tried to keep everybody on the same page so that when we finally came to the point of taking the vote about going forward with it, there wasn't really a lot of explaining that had to be done because everybody already knew, pretty much what we were doing. So that's basically our process.
But the moral of the story is you got there in the end, correct?
We did get there, and we did have a wonderful induction, and Mike came, and we were very grateful for his presence.
And a point that I'll make, just because this, it's always the point, is cannibalization. I know the word that everybody hates, but there was not cannibalization. I think almost all the new members, the majority of the new members, were new to Rotary.
That is correct. We only had one person who actually moved from our traditional Friday club into the Impact Club. Everybody else is brand new.
Margie, it looks like you got a question from Albert to your south.
Okay.
Albert, did you want to ask a question?
I am so sorry I hit that in error.
Well, it's nice to see you anyway.
Albert always has a question.
Well, Margie, I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Sure.
I mean, it can be an arduous process. It certainly doesn't have to be, but sometimes you just have to make sure that your T's are crossed, and different people with different priorities and different resources may do that in different ways. And, that's why we've also invited someone else to come and share a story. Now, Shelby might be a little different than Pittsburgh in more than one way, I suppose. I've been to both places. They do look and feel a little bit different, but the story is just as valuable. And our team member, Al DeLucia, has someone that I think he wants to introduce to kind of pick up or maybe provide some contrast to your experience, Margie, from a different perspective. Al, do you want to tee that up for us?
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's my honor to be able to introduce Kiana Lauren. Kiana joined Rotary in late 2021. She became very active in the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh's service committee, and then saw the opportunity to head up and spearhead the forming of their Impact Club, and she now serves as the chair of the Impact Club of the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh. She is a gritty truth teller, and she is a resilience coach on a mission to create better humans through business. And with that, Kiana, I'd like to tell us your story about how you were impactful in starting the Impact Club of Rotary Club of Pittsburgh.
Awesome. Thank you, Al. Hi, Patrick. Hello, all of you. It's great to meet you. Great story, Margie. So I have to start with Al as the epitome or the beginning of our story as far as the Impact Club for the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh. I happened to be subbing in for our chair at a committee meeting, and this was in April of 23 at the board meeting. And Al was coming to talk to our board about impact, about innovative clubs, that there is a companion club, satellite club that we could create called Impact, really focused on service projects and a slightly different morphed opportunity to still be engaged in Rotary. And I think as I was leaving, it was great presentation, great information that Al provided us. And I'm pretty sure at the end of the meeting, I went out into the lobby and called Al, got your phone number and called you and said, we're interested in this. We would like to move forward. Admittedly, I was very excited about the idea. I remember, and I hope I don't offend any of you, I would complain about Rotary from the outside. And I was like, this isn't a community. This isn't something that makes sense for me. And rather than complaining about it, I decided to become a part of it and build something, attract more people in from the inside. So this opportunity to create a slightly different model and a way of engaging people maybe at different different what do I want to say, levels of their life or different levels of engagement. I have got little kids. I'm working full time. Like to go drive into the city every week for lunch wasn't really working for me anyway. So I got very excited and I was happy to drive it forward. I was actually going over in preparation to talk to all of you, kind of the timeline. Like I have the big dates, right? So that was in April. July, our board actually approved setting this up, kind of going forward with garnering our, getting our charter members. I believe we needed 12, maybe it was 8 to 12, somewhere in there. I'm probably messing it up. Al, just tell me, or Patrick, if I'm off. But they said, okay, yes, Kiana, you can spearhead this and go find your members. And when you have them, we will put in the application and move it forward. We ended up, I think I met with Patrick, who, by the way, had this incredible kind of whole Calendly streamlined process, step 1, step 2, step 3, for getting engaged and going down this pathway for impact. And in each of our meetings, I probably had more than 3 meetings with Patrick, admittedly, was bugging him all the time. But it was great. And all the ideas and creative ways to look for members. I think, Margie, you ended up having some family members of existing members. That was one of the places that I went to first, was like, hey, if you've had family members who couldn't make it to our traditional club, but they've liked the idea of being involved or they want to be a part of it, we now have impact. Let them know. I also reached out to I think hundreds of past club members who were no longer involved. I think I got 1, maybe 2 from there out of our 12. But even talking to other people in my community, I coach soccer. So I talked to different parents and said, hey, they had expressed some interest in Rotary, but couldn't make it to, again, the traditional meeting. And this idea of showing up for projects that might happen in the evenings or the weekends or at different periods of time throughout the month was exciting for them. So I don't think I knew every single chartered member previously, but most of them I did have a connection to in some way, or our current members obviously had a connection to them, or they were connected to Rotary in the past or interested in Rotary. I feel like I'm missing some things. We chartered on November 1st. And our district governor was actually able to attend, which was awesome. He was already coming out to present. And so it just timing worked out. We did lose 4 members. We were at 12. We lost 4. Frankly, they just weren't as engaged throughout the year. And I kind of offered, if this isn't really a fit for you, they might have just been excited about it, but then couldn't create the time. But we then brought in 4 additional new impact members. So we're at 12 right now. I know Margie had mentioned the cannibalization. There were 2 individuals who were planning to drop Rotary, but then when they found out about impact, they transitioned over. There was some concern or worry when we were originally talking to the board or as we continue to move through this process from July through November, of losing members, of traditional members moving into. I really tried to enforce that this is kind of a whole. And if we're really wanting to grow Rotary as a whole, we'd rather have them be engaged in something or rather than in something that's not really a good fit and then just eventually fall off. My understanding is that a lot of people join and then within a year they fall off because they don't have that engagement. So to kind of address that piece, we really focused on that. And it's been a very much as far as I'm concerned, one club. Our Rotary, we talk about impact being the impact club for the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh. We adopted a highway. That was one of the things that we did after chartering at the end of last year. And we have both of our names on that sign. I'm still very active with the service projects that the traditional club does. And frankly, we kind of combine them all rather than trying to duplicate. And I love that. I love that we're one big happy family, mostly happy family. I'm trying to look up, see what else. Did I give you enough details around the origin and the timeline? Was that helpful? Nod or give me a thumbs down. I'm a very interactive person. It's hard to just talk at you. I'd love to see you. And for longer, let's see, I'm just to see along the way. Well, I would say the biggest obstacle was losing people once we had chartered. I think that was kind of a bummer. Like they weren't as engaged. So I guess, and we as a club as a whole are doing a much better job or working on a better job to create or manage expectations when people join. Like, this is what you're stepping into. This is what the expectations are. There's opportunities for you to get more involved if you would like, or if this is just something that you're looking for, just to be connected to a community. But again, managing those expectations early on so that then they stay engaged, hopefully, for a longer period of time. Anything else that I missed, Al?
Just to make a point, we always talk about the possibility of an impact club or some companion club possibly taking away from the traditional club, but you didn't take away 2 members. You actually saved 2 members in Rotary. They were going to leave Rotary. The situation was your club, your host club meets in downtown Pittsburgh. These people worked in a northern suburb, and they no longer needed to come into town for work. They were working 100% remotely. They were going to leave Rotary. Your impact club saved them from leaving Rotary. Didn't take away from the traditional club. So you didn't take away any members from your host traditional club, Rotary Club of Pittsburgh.
No, and now our service, or not service committee, excuse me, our membership committee talks about both clubs. And it's not that one is better than the other. It's just like, these are a couple of different options. Like, you can get engaged with Rotary in these 2 avenues. And if you decide you want one avenue, you can still be engaged with the service projects and impact. And if you go the impact route, you're still invited to the lunches. You're still invited to the socials. So it's not that you're like, oh, you're over here and we're over there. Again, it's a very holistic approach to engaging. I would love to, go ahead, David.
How often does your impact club meet? And how did you what did you do different with your dues structure?
Okay, so the meeting piece, we do at least 1 service project a month. I think 1 month I did 3. My goal was 2 to 4. I have found that when we do 4, it's too much, and it's just like it's almost like too many pieces. And we did get a district grant, so we've engulfed that into it, I guess is probably the best way to say it. But we meet at our service projects. We don't have weekly service projects necessarily.
Okay.
I know that Patrick talked about 30 service projects in 30 days. I love that idea. I would love to be able to tackle that. I have not yet.
It's a lot.
And the dues structure, I believe the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh does, I think, like $410 a year is their traditional dues. We decided on $300 because we thought $25 a month. It's kind of like a Netflix subscription or some other thing. Like, okay, you can manage that. So we came up with the $300, and that then more than covers what we owe to the district. And then we can kind of build up a little bit of a pool eventually to do some things inside of our club or contribute to something else, or play a little.
Great.
Marcy,
Thank
David
you.
actually had that same question for you as well. Are your dues similar to that, or are they different in some way?
Our dues are different. Our host club dues are $850 a year. The Impact Club will be paying $200 a year. There are no meals involved. They will have a meeting 1 time a month and a service project 1 time a month. So the dues and the meeting times are pretty different. I would say that we have really encouraged the Impact Club and the Host Club to share projects. We've only had 1 meeting so far for the Impact Club. I mean, we just got started, but already they participated with Host Club in 2 of the events, 2 of the service projects that the Host Club's done, and are scheduled for another one in 2 weeks. So trying to share all of these opportunities has been something that's really been a benefit to everybody.
Yeah. Well, let me first of all thank both Kiana and Margie for making the effort to be here and sharing their stories. And everybody else can visibly thank them as well if they want. I saw David. There you go. That looks much more impressive. Thank you all very much for that. I hear at least two things that are in common. One is if you don't get started, you're certainly never going to finish. And the other thing is, and I'll again coin a phrase from my friend Terry Weaver, you've got to be intentionally committed in doing this, because there are so many opportunities for pitfalls and the brakes to be applied. And it sounds like the two of you were just not willing to let that be part of the equation. So my hat's off to both of you for doing that. Does anybody else have any questions for them before I actually address something that I see in the chat that might take us a different direction? But first of all, any other questions for either Margie or Kiana from the group? All right, seeing none. And Joe, I'll warn you, Patrick Longano is on this call. So, but I'm going to go ahead and read your question to anybody that hasn't seen it. Would it be less confusing if we called it an impact group rather than an impact club? And while that certainly goes out to to respond, Patrick, you might have some initial thoughts about that, since rumor has it you're somewhat affiliated with this whole impact movement as it is.
I think what you saw over the past 40 minutes on this thing is that impact is not any one thing. But when you don't do the steps, I think when you vary the procedure, you get varied results. So there are certain things that we teach on this, going out to the clubs that you'll be going out to. Each club gets to design whatever they want. Some are, we want you to have a meeting and we want you to have this. Some people are this and that and so on and so forth. And all we do is kind of give best practices and maybe some things that hurdles that we know you're going to come across because we've just done this so many times. I think there's still a lot of confusion because the people that are talking about this out in the public are not the people that have been doing it for the last 5 years. A lot of it, there's people out there like Nico and Al, they're out there, they've done these clubs before, Chris Jones and that sort of stuff, the people that haven't. So I want to make sure that there's no further confusion. But the answer to that question, impact group versus impact club. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of that. I chose it very specifically, for that reason. And especially with the naming convention, it's always supposed to refer to as impact by the Rotary Club of blank, impact by the Rotary Club of Shelby, impact by the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh. So I did it very specifically for that same naming convention.
Yep. Chris Jones has a question. It may relate to that as well. I didn't mean to cut you off if I did. Chris, did you want to throw something on that?
It's a comment to further on what Patrick was saying. The naming convention is so important. And also, RI has a naming convention where we call all of our organizations clubs. And to start throwing a different term out there may just add confusion. So my recommendation is we keep it all the same and not add confusion into the market. The beauty of these innovative clubs is that they can become whatever we want them to be. So an impact club is certainly an option. A niche club focused on a particular area, those had interest at one point. I've seen waning interest in those in recent times, but these companion clubs can really create their own focus and create membership opportunities for people in the community that don't exist today with our standard legacy club. And so that's I think the direction that we really need to focus our energies on is how do we take an individual that has interest in serving and then create a club that matches their desire. And that's really the innovative thinking that we need to come up with as a group and continue to foster that opportunity.
Well, I think you two gentlemen have actually teed up the next notion that we wanted to discuss. And certainly the bulk of this call was designed to be about successful starts. But as you've heard, sometimes there can be confusion that enters the equation. And we want these calls and everything that we do to be more about eliminating the confusion and focusing on the concentration. So for that reason, Patrick Longano, if you would you be willing to share with this group what we are starting to visualize as being something to not only enhance this call, but also address some of those concerns and provide additional opportunities for people to, to be brainstormed, if you will?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sean. One of the things that we we're talking about is that this has always been inward facing. It's always been a meeting that that talks to the people that are in the district and then had them go and talk to the clubs. And I think we've done a darn good job of it with Patrick and Chris and Sean and even Sandy Olson's leadership throughout the years doing this. But I think it's about time that we really started a forward-facing project out there available to the masses that want to come and learn about any type of innovative clubs. You've heard about them. It's just now, and it's only because I talked to a lot of people on it, it's now become acceptable. The people that talked with us a couple of years ago that said, "You're ruining Rotary," are now coming up going, "Can you do this? Can we do this?" And, so they're getting more creative on it. So I think it's the time. Zone 33, and I'm sorry, the Zone 34 people on here, so I'll include Zone 34 too, have always been really, really good at, I made Jones and Sawyer laugh. So if I got Joe Roth to laugh, I'm happy there. But he's honorary 33 anyway.
You did.
So
he's
honorary
grinning ear to ear. Look at it.
Good. But we've always been the home of innovation. We started Rotaract. We started to really lead the world on innovative clubs like this. And I think it's about time that we started helping whoever wants to do these. So I think some of the folks that maybe in your district that you're talking to, if they say, "Hey, where can we get more information on us?" You can say, "Hey, we've got an all call on October blank at, blankety blank." You can go there and just ask any questions that you want. They'll go over all types of innovative clubs, companion clubs, cause-based, the whole 9 yards, and get it from the people who have started the most in North America.
Well, there you have it. I had mentioned that in the beginning of the call. I don't know that you'd made it on there yet.
I didn't, sorry.
But I had mentioned to the fact that there was something in the works. And I think you've provided just the right teaser for that. Some of it because we don't have all the details and the kinks worked out of it yet. But otherwise, we certainly want people to stay interested enough that they come back to hear more, right?
Oh, good gracious. And I would like, after maybe the first one or two, we'll probably grab a lot of the folks on this call to, "Hey, can you participate in this forward-facing call, this all call that we have for January or February?" And then that way you can share your experiences and your thoughts on that sort of thing. I just, the more you talk about it, the more you help other people, the better you'll be at being able to answer these questions to them. So thanks, Sean.
No, you're right. And I think the moral of that story is the person that we find perhaps to be the most motivated is not always the person that wears the biggest name tag. That can be anywhere. And while this call is a little bit limited in its scope as to who it is that's invited and encouraged to participate, this forward-facing thing is out there for anybody to grab a hold of and run with. Just like, for example, Kiana, who happens to draw the short straw and show up as a sub during a meeting. And now she's the poster child for the impact growth that's going on in the city, right? Joe, see, now you've stirred Joe up. Joe's got his hand up. Joe, feel free.
Hey, Patrick, when you say forward facing, are you talking about using our public image committees at district level and getting the word out beyond the districts and clubs? Are you looking to be promoting this on a more worldly level? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, brother, if you got it, you might as well flaunt it.
No,
No,
I'm
teasing. No, I'm just saying there's so many people, guys, there that you really don't understand because you're like in Zone 33. There are people that are outside that call me. I'm working with clubs in Wyoming and Idaho right now that they don't have this, what we have. You know what I mean? So what we want to do is provide it's almost like a gigantic step one, Joe, for anything companion. It's, have you heard about this? Can you not find the answers? Do you want to come to one place and do it with and ask whatever questions you want from the people that know how to do this best? And then, but I promise you, you'll wind up seeing people from every zone in North America, I bet you. There's that kind of call for it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm
that
wondering,
would be
I'm
good.
wondering how we can, I'm wondering how we can incorporate the Rotary Leads program into some of the things that we're doing. In terms of them, you know, when somebody reaches out to the lead program, have the lead program be a public image team for us, saying that we're not just the traditional Rotary Club anymore. This is what's out there for you.
Yep.
You know, let us know if it's something you're interested in.
Yep, you know what I mean? The time has come, and this is just in support of MAP. I mean, the ICA falls underneath, membership growth, and, anytime I'm out there talking, I talk about MAP and Terry's membership action, or membership success center, and we're in support of, all our RCs in this area. You know what I mean? We get two of the best in zone 33 and 34 right now. So this is just something that would be to kind of facilitate. It's not pushing anything. Usually if you just give information, people love to take it and run with it. So Joe, I think probably what'll happen after this first call, this is really kind of like a get out the deal, but we'll get a little working group together and see if we can work out some of those things. But there are people on this call like Carrie Gray, Renee, and I mean, everybody that's on this call is good at what they do. So I expect everybody to participate in these things going forward. You are the experts in North America on companion clubs and innovative clubs. You are. I mean, just letting you know, we have, gee whiz, out of the four, we have about, in zone 33, we have, if I'm not mistaken, 26% of all of the active satellite and companion clubs in North America, just in our zone. So we know how to do it. And if you include 34, it's upwards of 40%. So we know how to do it, and we need to help other people to do it too. They're asking for it. So I'd like to get that out there and go. And Sean was the kind of the driving force behind this.
Well, thank you for the unnecessary tip of the hat, but there's been a lot of people that have recognized the need and want to take advantage of the opportunity. But you're right, we've got the right team. In fact, Carrie, Joe, you'll be happy to know, you know what they say about great minds. You'd mentioned something about chat, that sort of how we have ICA leads in our zone. We could have an ICA lead team for RI, and I think that makes perfect sense. Chris Jones, you've been very patient with your hand up. Please feel free to ask a question before we move on.
Thanks, Sean. Is again furthering on something that Patrick said that was very quick, and I want to make sure everybody on the call heard it because it's so important. In this zone, really zones 33 and 34, we're the ones that are doing this. It doesn't exist in other zones. Okay, so, and if you're not sure what a zone is a compilation of districts. So we are special. We're leading North America, probably leading the world in this endeavor. So all of you on this call are part of a special team because we're doing something the rest of the world is not doing. So you need to really kind of beat your chest on something like that and feel proud about the difference that we're making. And we are making a difference. I'll steal a little bit of Terry Weaver's thunder that you'll see here shortly, but we're #1 in North America in membership growth this year. Let that sink in for a second. We're #1 in membership growth this year. And a lot of that is due to this effort that we're doing. We're getting the majority of our growth coming out of these new clubs. Don't get me wrong, legacy clubs are critically important, and growing those clubs is critically important. But when you look at return on investment, bang for the buck, it is innovative clubs that is really driving the membership growth that we're enjoying. So feel proud, feel good. about where you are and the fact that you are lucky enough to be in zone 33 and Joe in 34. Thanks
Well,
all.
yeah, we're gonna have to work that out, Chris. We're gonna have to we're just gonna draft them. We're just gonna tell Mary we're gonna take them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be cannibalization. Do you? If Joe
No.
decided he wanted to lean to this side of the fence, would that be all right?
No, but I'll tell you one thing. If you get Carrie Gray and Joe Roth together on how to publicize a companion club and do that sort of stuff, holy cow.
I think maybe we just did, buddy.
Oh goodness, did I do that out loud? Sorry about that.
Hey, look, in the spirit of teasers, first of all, thank you again. What a great discussion. Anybody have any other questions that they want to pose before we move on? Because as I was about to say, in the spirit of teasers, I think next month you stand to hear a little bit more, not only of this forward-facing event and the development of its format and what it's going to represent, but I want to put this bug in your ear as well. What do we want innovative growth to look like in 1 year or 3 years or 5 years? You've got 30 days to decide whether you have the resolve to be part of the answer of that question. But certainly the opportunity is here and the momentum is built. And I thank everybody for their efforts. Ordinarily at this point, we would hear from our esteemed director, but as I told you, he was not able to make the call tonight. So let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. Again, somebody give me a thumbs up when you can see that on the screen, please. Anybody see that? Great.
Yes.
Okay. Again, I just want to give you some dates that you have to look forward to in the future. If it cooperates. There we go. Wrap up and reminders. Make sure you put these on your calendar. Take a screenshot, pull out your camera. They'll be in the recap email follows this call in a couple of days, but for the time being, I wanted to bring these things to your attention. 6 days from today, Monday, October the 7th, is our monthly Zoom information led by our director, Patrick Eakes. The time for that is 1 o'clock. Second Monday in October, 1 week following that one, is the next map call. The theme for this month is Attraction Action. Build your club with innovative and traditional solutions. Sorry, my screen was cut off. And then the very important imposed deadline, if you will, it's a bit of a strong word, but maybe it needs to be. By the end of the day on Sunday, the 20th, we would ask that each district's ICAs input your new numbers that you have in the sheet, in the Google sheet. If you don't have anything new, that's fine. I would still ask that you go in there and review that. Once you've done either of those two things, please check your box in the first column, signifying that you have taken the time to visit that resource and make sure that it's updated. The very next day, led by our Rotary coordinator in Zone 33, Terry Weaver, is the monthly DMC call at 5 o'clock. And a little bit of a difference is next month's ICA call, based upon some concern folks had with it being U.S. Election Day on the 5th. We have decided to postpone next month's call by a week. So it will be on the second Tuesday of the month instead of the first, which falls on November the 12th at 5 o'clock p.m. And as always, I wanted to share something with each of you that today is actually National Pumpkin Spice Day. Can't say that I'm a fan, but perhaps some of you are. I won't judge, as odd as it is and as foul of a smell as that is in my house at times, but nevertheless, please feel free to do as you will. I appreciate you all being here. Patrick, you've got your hand up for a final comment, perhaps?
Yeah, I apologize. But I think if you haven't been on that map call, get on that map call. If I'm not mistaken, Carrie, are you on that map call presenting?
I am in October.
Woo!
Another teaser.
Look
Well
at that.
done, everybody. Hey,
Carrie,
look, we're at least we're keeping the mystery value high in these calls. That's fantastic.
Love it.
And
Love it.
thank you for the amen. PSL is horrid. Prefer caramel apple. Good call. Anything else from anybody? If not, I appreciate you all. Please be safe. Take care of yourselves if you're able. Take care of others if you're able. Let's try to get through what recent events have left us, and we will come out stronger on the other end. Until then, take care. Ladies, again, thanks for sharing your time with us. Thanks to everybody for making the effort to be here, and we will see you all soon. Some of you in Pittsburgh in just a few weeks.
Thank you,
John,
Margie.
hang tight.
Hi.
Great job.
Hang tight for a
Thank
second.
you all.
In
Thank you
Pittsburgh.
all.